right, everybody, it's time to continue the process. We made the process our friend again this week. Cash game lineups didn't always pay, but our read literally dialed in. Our bet sheet, 9-4 on the week. We smacked 3 separate props with some conviction. Big hit on Devon Achane's anytime touchdown and over 40-yard rush prop. We had the Houston Texans outright, and the Miami Dolphins covered the plus 7.5 versus the Buffalo Bills. We missed the under on the Detroit Lions and watched the Commanders game, and in a Henry anytime touchdown also we missed. But that's life at the Razor's Edge. We got the structure right. Now let's run through the rest of the board. Bills at Dolphins. The Dolphins cover that plus 7.5 and 1. The script fired better than expected, essentially. Miami's line allowed just 1.2 yards before contact per carry, and they tilted the passing game early. West Coast motion, short to run, sets. The Bills, they lost. They look lost. Josh Allen looked off. The run game was flat. We pointed to Ray Davis being the value if Cook sat, and Cook ended up playing. We didn't get value there. And Achane popped for 174, 2 tutties. That one's a blueprint. Find a team hitting rhythm on offense with the defense suddenly soft in key places. The script was validated. Bank that one. Giants at Bears. Caleb Williams finally exploded. Odunze found the paint, but the real variable, the Bears mobile QB forced the Giants front into scramble mode, basically. The Giants were cooking until their mobile QB that they have left the game with a concussion-adjacent look. The Bears' O-line held up long enough. Swift was okay, and the design runs kicked in. The triple stack of the QB running back tight end didn't exactly hit. Loveland was, he faded, but the game read was clean. Win in the bag, even if the DFS juice was partial. Falcons at the Colts, the London game last week. London's exotic locale didn't throw us. We leaned Indy. Colts line still ranked top 3 in adjusted line yards. Falcons rush defense. They blew up on the outside zone. Jonathan Taylor went off. Alec Pierce popped back and forth, but Indy pulled it out. Huge game from Taylor, 3 touchdowns. If you were facing him, you woke up on Sunday morning already in a ditch, and I was one of those people. Browns at Jets. We nailed the matchup. Jets front heavy versus Browns bottom 5 in time to pressure and 0.4 yards before contact on rushes. So Judkins, GPP only is what we said. We faded the pass scale for Cleveland. Jets got it done. Big margin call. Invest in deep when the line you trust is the weakest link. Jaguars at Texans. Houston outright worked. It just outright worked. Defensive texture was exactly what we expected. Top 3 in pressure rate. No 100-yard rusher in a month. Trevor Lawrence got beat up. Mills was serviceable. Marks chipped in. The Texans closed it. Credit the control, game, and patience in that one. Patriots at Bucks. Mayfield came through with 3 touchdowns. Tampa's run game got exposed on perimeter zones, which we flagged. There, sorry about that, but sometimes you do these things in the middle of the night. Point blank in that game, it's get another win, but I don't think that solidifies them as this juggernaut of a team. Like, even if they went out with just 2 losses, like, I think people are starting to perpetuate them further than they are. And the Buccaneers, top tier team, but I just don't know exactly who they are or where they can go in the playoffs. They just lose themselves so many times. At Vikings, the combo of Lamar and Henry didn't pay the yardage jackpot because Vikings front held, and they held up longer than expected, 1.3 yards before contact allowed. But the Ravens defense flipped the field and won it. Henry didn't smash the goal line like we expected, and there's a lesson learned there. Volume plays don't always equal leverage when the opponent stiffens. Still a right read. Judge just the nuts and the bolts, missed a little bit. But Saints at Panthers, this one hurts. Panthers lost. We saw Carolina's top 5 in run success rate. Weak Saints coverage, but they couldn't close. Dowdle looked good. McMillan solid, but Panthers inconsistent. Saints survived. Reminder, physical advantage isn't enough without finishes. Cardinals at Seahawks. Seahawks were dominant. JSN set the tone right away. McBride and Brissett delivered. Cardinals run game split and non-viable, basically. We leaned the better team. Nice build matchup validated. Lions at Commanders. Lions rolled. Commanders front suffered 39% pressure rate. Lions D feasted. Gibbs exploded. This guy had a great day. Monty was stalled. We had it the other way around, so we lost out there a little bit. The under script did not work out. Script was control game. Outcome was a dominant run by the Lions. I think we lost the under and we lost the game script control when Dan Campbell took over play calling. That's a different Tiger, all with different stripes, right? So tempo matters is the point there, and he was the difference maker. Rams at 49ers. Rams row win just like we forecast. Stafford clean. Puka sharp. 49ers guards shot. Kyron Williams closed it. We flagged the mismatch. They exploded it. Sweet win. Steelers at the Chargers. Sunday Night Football. Chargers cover. Herbert and mobility and mismatches in the secondary. McConkey popped. Allen's yardage record didn't help. Steelers looked tired. We leaned the missile. Boom. Final thoughts. Week 10 was execution, not surprise. We hit 9-4 on the bets. So that's a 69% win ratio on the bets. We made key prop plays, Achane anytime touchdown, Achane plus 40 yards, and recognize where the value was. DFS, cash game lineup only got 119 points. So, that's not going to do it, but tournament builds, some of those got a little deeper down in the bag, but the whole point is the pool wasn't wrong. My makeup probably, had some work to do, but if I gave you guys that pool and you made it up differently, perhaps you would have had a different level of success. We identified the exact QB running back tight end stacks that dominate. We were right on run blocking mismatches, line collapse angles, tempo control. So with that in mind, it's week 11 now. We're sharpening pre-snap reads, doubling down on stack synergy, and adjusting where the market's have it. So get ready. Time for us to continue the process and certainly learn, scout, win, and repeat. Well, now that we've got that out the way, time for us to shift over into a little segment called Would You Rather. Let's go over a couple of conundrums for week 11. I just basically go to Fantasy Pros, guys, and I look at, they have this section where people can submit their Would You Rather conundrums. And so they post the most popular ones, and it feels fitting to run through those. So let's take your impossible dilemmas and make them slightly less disastrous. Juwan Jennings or Kamani Vidal. Vidal is running straight into the Jacksonville run defense, which has quietly been one of the most annoying units to run on this season. Jennings, on the other hand, is getting an Arizona team where the Niners should absolutely need passing volumes late. So I like him, although I recognize that Pearsall is coming back. I'll say Jennings. Better script, better matchup, better vibes. Jameson Williams or Woody Marks. Jameson has the Eagles this week, and Philly randomly chooses which offensive skill that they want to remove from your body, right? Like they just pick a part of your team each week and take that thing away. Woody Marks, on the other hand, he gets the Titans who've been handing out rushing lanes like Halloween candy. High floor for Marks, high ceiling for Marks, right? Like he's got the higher floor, the higher ceiling. Jameson is a turning dart, but Marks is the play here. Tataro McMillan or Kyle Monungai. McMillan draws the Falcons secondary. Not fun, not friendly, not necessary. Monungai plays for the Bears, and Chicago gets the Vikings this week. Both Bears backs, have touchdown equity. Both can eat, basically, with the way they've been using them. And so I would say Monungai here. Talent plus role plus matchup, all line up clean. All right, would you rather play Quinshon Judkins or Ladd McConkey this week? Judkins behind the Browns O-line versus Baltimore's front is basically a stress test for your patience, man. McConkey on the other side gets a Chargers team that will have to pass on Jacksonville. He's the wide receiver number one. He's the volume magnet, and the matchup tilts pass heavy. So let's go with Ladd McConkey. Don't overthink it. Wide receiver, one volume. All right, would you rather Juwan Jennings or Woody Marks this week? Same deal as before. Jennings is fine. Marks is safer. Marks, we're not chasing cute. We're chasing points. Aaron Jones, would you rather, or Cortland Sutton this week? Sutton faces the Chiefs, and Kansas City's past D has been locking dudes up. Aaron Jones gets the Bears. The Bears defend nothing. Run? No. Pass? No. Hope? Not really. Aaron Jones Sr., this might be the best spot all season for him. Tataro McMillan or Kamani Vidal. McMillan versus Atlanta, that's kind of tough. Vidal versus Jacksonville, also tough. But at least he has goal line equity and like a usable role, basically. So we'll say Vidal, the path to a touchdown is a little bit cleaner. All right, would you rather Oronde Gadsden this week or RJ Harvey? Gadsden is banged up and draws Jacksonville. He's going to play, though. I mean, he seems to be in a better position than when I originally wrote up this article. Harvey plays for Denver. and Denver gets the Chiefs this week. Peyton will absolutely annoy us with 3 running backs, but Harvey has the top role. We have to lean him. Gadsden's in a good spot, but he's not number 1 in the pecking order. We talked about McConkey. There's also Quinn Johnson. There's also Keenan Allen. So although Gadsden's in a good spot, Harvey's in a less good spot. Like, I just feel like he has a path to more touches with the football, so we have to lean Harvey here. All right, Romeo Doubs or Rachaad White, would you rather? Doubs versus the Giants is nice, but White against Buffalo, that's interesting. That run game should cook, literally and figuratively, because Buffalo has been soft on the edges and White gets all the volume. So I'm going to take Rachaad White there. All right, would you rather Rome Odunze or Woody Marks this week? Odunze has Minnesota, not impossible, but tougher through the air. Marks gets Tennessee, which means daylight and lots of it. I'm going to take Woody Marks. We're becoming a Woody Marks podcast all of a sudden. I'm not mad about it. Quinn Johnson or Kamani Vidal this week, would you rather? Johnson gets a Jacksonville defense that can be attacked through the air. I just mentioned it a second ago, and the Chargers will need to throw it. Vidal versus Jacksonville's run front, tougher path, less upside. Quinn Johnson, matchup plus game script wins in that one. And then we have George Pickens or Chase Brown this week. Would you rather? Chase Brown runs straight at the Steelers' front. Terrible idea. Pickens gets Dallas' suspect secondary in a game where Pittsburgh will have to answer with the pass because Pittsburgh will be able to pass. So I'm going to take Pickens. Talent plus opportunity plus matchup alignment, basically. That's our Would You Rather for this week. I hope that's helped you guys with any conundrums that you've had or any wonderings about who you would rather play in a certain scenario. And at that, we'll transition right along here. Quick timeout before we keep going, though. Got to show some love to the folks at Fraction. Look, hiring in tech is broken. You either burn $250,000 on a full-time senior engineer, or you roll the dice offshore and pray your stand-ups don't turn into a crime scene report. Fraction fixes all of that. First option, time-based fractional talent, quarter time, half time, senior US-based engineers with actual resumes and actual experience. They join your Slack, your code base, your roadmap, and things just get better instantly. But the new hotness, the productivity model. You don't pay for hours. You don't pay for guessing. You pay for output, commits, PRs, tickets closed, roadmaps moved. And because Fraction uses DevHawk under the hood, you literally see the work happening in real time. So no fog, no fluff, no mystery offshore black box. You want a feature built, a backlog crushed, a release hit on a deadline? Cool. Fraction gives you a US-based engineer and at a fixed price for the deliverable. Hit the milestone, they get paid. Miss the milestone, you don't. That's it. So whether you need a part-time senior dev to stabilize your code base, or you want to try this productivity path and finally pay for what matters, the work, Fraction has you covered. Hire smarter, build faster, spend sanely. Check them out at hirefraction.com. and tell them the process sent you. All right, at that, let's reload. Let's get ready for week 11 here. We don't react, we reload. And of course, we do need to start with Thursday night, Patriots 38, Jets 10. Let's start with that Thursday funeral. God bless. The Jets offense is so bad right now. It basically is a trust exercise in sadness. Fields continued his, I swear I used to be good at this tour. New York's QB room is producing 170 fantasy points on the entire season. Bottom 5, and it feels worse watching it. When your passing game is that broken, the run game collapses by association. Breece Hall might as well have been running into a broom closet. New England looked like a juggernaut entirely by accident. Trevion Henderson, 3 touchdowns, and the Jets front 7 looked like they forgot the assignment was tackle the other people. If you face Henderson Thursday, you're in the I woke up already slapped mode on Friday. I need 30 burgers and divine intervention. All right. That was Thursday. Reload, Commanders versus Dolphins, Madrid game. Washington's passing game is so stunted that their wide receiver room is averaging just 15.7 DraftKings fantasy points per game. Worse than the NFL, like by a mile, y'all. No Jaden Daniels this week. No McLaurin, just Mariota and Prayer. This Miami defense can be cracked, but not by passing. You attack them with the running back, yards after contact, and the Commanders' running back group is actually top 5 in total broken tackles. So, enter Chris Rodriguez, healthy, starter before injury. If Washington moves the ball at all, it'll be through him, is what I think. But this is still a bloodbath. Miami's offense is a coloring book of mismatches. Commanders allow over 40 DraftKings points per game to wide receivers, legit worse than the league. Auto smash spot, A-chance smash spot, Tua floors open. Malik Washington equals tournament dart in this one. But Washington flying across the world with dysfunction, I don't know about that. Miami flying across the world with momentum, maybe that propels them to a third straight victory. My pick is the Dolphins cooking this one. Reload. Bengals at the Steelers. Cincinnati's defense is one of the biggest, don't be fooled by the name, units in football. They've allowed 316 DraftKings points to opposing running backs and are bottom 10 versus wide receivers also. Translation, Jaylen Warren, it's his week. Translation, DK Metcalf, floor, it's his week. The tight ends want to be in play, but the Jonnu Freiermuth split in the DFS version is like basically the DFS version is sharing a toothbrush. Like, I don't want to do it. Bengals offense becomes a one-dimensional Flacco YOLO operation in this one. Pittsburgh allows just 177 FanDuel fantasy points to running backs all season. That's pretty elite. So Chase Brown is dust, but Chase plus Higgins both live because volume will be forced. I don't know if I go there myself. Pick Steelers win. Warren is the anchor. Reload. Chargers at Jaguars. The body clock game of the week, but the actual story in this one, Jacksonville's pass game is in shambles. The wide receivers ranked 27th in yards after catch, and they're facing a Chargers defense that quietly erases the middle of the field. So Etienne is the one playable Jaguar this week. Everybody else is in you're trying too hard territory. Meanwhile, Herbert faces a defense that allows 200 and king points to QBs. That's bottom 10 in the league. And he's traveling with real pieces. If McConkey plays, nuclear stack. McConkey's going to play this week. Quentin Johnson, if McConkey doesn't play, but again, I think there were some reports out of camp, but he's going to... I camp out of practice, but he's fine. He's going to play. They're both in play. Chargers win ugly, but stack Herbert with those wide receivers. Reload. Buccaneers at Bills. Buffalo's run game was basically a rumor for 2 years, but this is a James Cook edge run smash spot. Tampa just allow outside zone to gouge them, and Cook leads the league in yards before contact, before attempt among qualifying backs. Allen's rushing floor is the real cheat code here. Bills QBs are averaging 19 DraftKings points a game. So that's Allen. That's top 5 in the NFL. But Baker on the road, don't laugh. He's been excellent in bad environments, and Buffalo's wide receiver allowance rate boosted by garbage time puts Ted Johnson in play, basically. This game screams like one score either way. I'm going to take the Bills here. Bucks plus 6.5 if you can still get it. I would take that. I haven't been able to find it, but I've been looking at that on the ESPN scorebook. Reload. Bears at the Vikings. Chicago's offense this year basically can be summed up this way. Caleb Williams, I can move. Everyone else, but should we? DJ Moore gets a downgrade. They've allowed just 28 DraftKings points per game to wide receivers in total to the other team. That's top 5 in the league. So can't count on him. And Dunze ain't looking great either, but you can run on the Vikings. Swift looks good, viable. Swift and DFS looks viable this week at that price. Vikings side is where the fun lives, though. The Bears cannot defend mobile QBs. McCarthy has upside because of his legs, so Jefferson's got to be in a smash spot too against this defense. Addison has single high game spike written all over him. Aaron Jones gets a defense that's allowed 917 rushing yards already. Bears rank bottom 3 in broken tackles, forced on offense, turnover alert. So, Vikings by pressure plus mistakes is my pick here. I'm going to take the Vikings to win. Reload. Texans at Titans, one of the easiest reads of the slate. Tennessee cannot stop the run. They've allowed 240 DraftKings points to running backs through 9 games. That's bottom 5. This is a Woody Marks game. Chubb is there also, I guess, but this is a Woody Mark Chubb defense stack week for Houston if you want to do something like that. I don't know if I'll get to Chubb. CJ Stroud is out, Mills is in, but that's fine. Nico Collins still gets there because the Titans secondary gets up deep yards after catch, and Mills is at least willing. So Titans side, Pollard in a brick wall matchup. Passing game, DOA. Pick, I'm going to take the Texans by 2 scores in that one. Reload. Panthers at Falcons. This is the Fraud Bowl, and I genuinely don't know which team is pretending harder. Falcons elite versus wide receivers, bottom 10 versus the run. Rico Dowdle smash candidate, basically. So Carolina wants to run. Atlanta wants to remember who they are. London is the only Atlanta wide receiver that I like this week. Penix to London stacks are clean. Bijan is seasonal only. Algier runs DFS happiness he ruins, I should say, DFS happiness every week. I'm going to pick the Falcons here, but chaos is guaranteed. Reload. Packers at the Giants. Slayton's not going to play. So, you got to look at the tight end more here. When I initially wrote this up, Slayton was going to play. Wandell becomes obviously somebody that you got to look at from a volume perspective, but we're going to get Jameis Winston also starting over Russell Wilson. So we don't know if we're getting good Jameis or bad Jameis, right? And so there's a lot to ponder there. And so I'm going to try to stay away from guessing there. Real headline here, though, is the Giants defense is giving up 314 king points to wide receivers. That's bottom 8 in the league. Josh Jacobs plus Romeo Doubs plus Musgrave. All these guys are in smash spots against this defense. That's the part to focus on. So I'm going to take the Packers to win this one comfortably. Reload. Seahawks at Rams in what I expect to be the game of the week. Seahawks wide receivers versus the Rams secondary is obscene. Rams allow 30 per game, 33 DraftKings points per game to wide receivers. That's a bottom 6 tally in the league. So JSN is absolutely a tournament key this week. Darnold equals real life chaos. So you get this DFS ceiling that's pretty high, right? Because he's willing to sling it. Rams answer back through the air because Seattle is vulnerable in the intermediate zones and they're pretty good against the run. So Stafford, Adams, Nakua live this week. My pick, Rams at home in the shootout. Reload. 49ers at Cardinals. CMC, that's the analysis. But also Arizona is dead center defensively. So Shanahan will happily let Jennings and Kittle loosen the screws so McCaffrey can slam the door. Arizona side, Marvin Harrison Jr. is a target hog, but he's sitting this week. And so maybe Michael Wilson, you can bring it back with McBride. But McBride, though, has a schematic advantage, and that should be the number one wide receiver if you really want to think about it like that versus San Francisco's linebacker drops. Picking this one, I'm going to take the Bears on the road. Reload. Ravens at the Browns. Cleveland's defense is legit. Top 8 in nearly every meaningful category. Baltimore's defense is not legit. So Cleveland will hang around is what I mean to say. But is the breaker here. He'll need his legs. And Cleveland has quietly allowed 232 rushing yards to QBs. That's the most in the NFL, guys. So Flowers is the DFS dart in this one. Henry is dust in this matchup. Cleveland allows us 135 FanDuel points to running backs all year long. All year long. That's a total tally. My pick for this one, Ravens win it late. Reload. Chiefs at the Broncos. Denver undefeated at home. Chiefs bad on the road. Light says KC minus 3.5, but no Patrick Surtain, meaning Mahomes finally gets to open the playbook. Rashee Rice, smash it for me. Worthy, slate breaker. Pacheco, not the path. He's actually not playing. Hunt's going to get the ball, but we know that he's a goal line monster. That changes things differently there. In this one, though, bottom line is I take the over 44.5. Defenses will get shredded. My pick here is the Chiefs. Reload. Sunday night Lions at Eagles. Detroit has to run to win. Good news, Gibbs and Monty versus this front seven is a legit path. So Eagles have to pass to win. Bad news, they've been bottom 10 in passing efficiency all year. Hurts to Devonta is a clean stack. Goddard over AJB for price plus matchup. But my pick in this one is that the Lions are going to steal one. Bringing it back on the other side, like I said, with the Lions, it's just a run. I'm taking Amon-Ra St. Brown to not score a touchdown. We'll talk about that in bets. Lions steal this one. Reload. On to our last shot, so we'll make it good. Monday night Cowboys at Raiders. This feels wrong, but it's probably right. Game of the week. Raiders defense is legit. Top 12 versus the run and pass. Cowboys defense is fraudulent. Raiders side, Trey Tucker, Tyler. I like him more than I like Tyler Lockett, guys. Brock Bowers, that's the guy. He's active. That's the guy. Jonty, seasonal only. Geno, volume by necessity, but only unless you're in a QB2 league, you shouldn't be playing him. For the Cowboys side, Lamb, Ferguson, that's it. My pick in this one, Raiders win outright is what I think. And that is our reload for the week. Hopefully that helps you guys understand what I think is going to happen in these game scripts conceptually, and that helps you guys pick where you need to go this week. All right, we got to take a moment. We got to talk about my dogs. We got to talk about the Downey Razorbacks. Give those boys a quick shout out, man. What a season. 7-2, fought all year, made it to the second round of the playoffs before running into a tough West Coast Warriors squad. Nothing to hang your heads about. That was real football, real heart, and it was a pleasure being out there helping coach this group. Proud of every one of you guys. The growth, the grit, the way you carried yourselves. That's the stuff that lasts. Excited to see where all of your football journeys go next, essentially. Keep working, keep believing, keep showing that Razorback fight. All right, let's slide along to our DFS picks for week 11 here at the process. And this is the slate where mid-range running backs become gods, man. Week 11 slate is one of those beautiful disasters. Pricing is soft, matchups are loud, and there are about 6 different ways to build a winning lineup. We've got elite QBs and smash ops, value wide receivers tied to condensed target trees, and mid-tier running backs who woke up this morning knowing they're getting 18 touches whether you like it or not. Let's run position by position. Quarterback Josh Allen, 7K. This is one of those don't overthink it situations. Buffalo and Tampa has sneaky shootout written all over it. Tampa gets wrecked by outside zone runs and mobile QBs, and Allen is an outside zone run QB with a mortgage. So floor is 20 plus, ceiling is 35 plus, perfect for tournaments. Lamar Jackson, 6,900. Cleveland's defense is good, but the Ravens don't care. With Lamar practicing fully and this game likely forcing Baltimore to actually score points, Lamar's rushing equity shoots his floor into that I'm not mad I played him zone. Tournament viable with Hollywood upside. Patrick Mahomes, $6,600. Broncos undefeated at home. Chiefs terrible on the road. Yeah. Right? We talked about that. But guess what? No Patrick Surtain. This is a Mahomes to Rashee Rice slate. If you're trying to if you're trying to just think it out, right? The over is absolutely live. But again, I think Worthy makes sense too. Stafford, 6,600. Seattle can't defend anything outside the hash marks right now. If this game shoots out, and it should, Stafford and Adams or Stafford and Nakua is a high upside sack with low ownership. Baker Mayfield, $6,400. He's playing well. He's aggressive downfield, and he has absolutely nothing to lose. This is a perfect DFS archetype. Justin Herbert, $6,200. This is the game people forget about until Herbert has 320 yards and 3 tutties. If Lab McConkey plays stack him, he's going to play. If he doesn't, Quentin Johnson is live. But again, I think it was at one point in the week where I was getting reports he's not going to play. I think he's going to play. So there doesn't seem to be any injury designations. We don't have to keep thinking about that. But the Chargers forced Jacksonville to keep it up through the air. So I love Herbert here. Brock Purdy, $5,800. You're not playing him for 38 points. You're playing him because he lets you jam 2 studs and still eat dinner with dignity, right? But Joe Flacco, $5,500. Volume. Cincinnati can't run. Pittsburgh stops the run anyway. This is a 40 attempt Flacco week. Chase plus Higgins stacks are absolutely live. Michael Penix, $4,700. The pure YOLO salary saver. Good luck if you go down this road, but sometimes the Galaxy gives us what we want. Him to London, there should be some room there, but you would need it to pop to win, right? Like you need one of those 3 touchdown games. Him to London once, twice may not be enough. Running backs. This is the running back slate of the season. Half these guys are underpriced in smash spots. Let's start at the top. Josh Jacobs, $7,800. He's the engine of the Green Bay Packers offense. Giants defense is 31st in yards after contact allowed. This is a grown man spot. James Cook, $7,300 outside zone. Tampa cannot handle it. Cook is the tournament play that feels uncomfortable until he breaks off a 41-yard run and Twitter starts screaming. Rico Dowdle, $6,200. Atlanta cannot stop the run. This is Carolina's entire game plan. He's the best mid-range running back on the slate. We got Rachaad White at $6,200. Rachaad White is basically playing slot receiver who sometimes gets handoffs. Buffalo believes yardage to wide receivers in space. If this game goes up tempo, White hits 20 plus DK points. Jaylen Warren, $6,100. Cincinnati gives up explosive runs like they're running a charity foundation. Warren is on the cash running. He's one of the he's one of the play running backs of the week. DeAndre Swift, $5,800. Chicago cannot stop dual threat backs. The Chicago Bears this week are playing a team that cannot stop dual threat backs. And so him and Monunga are both in play, I would say, this week. The only thing stopping Swift, Chicago scoring too fast. Still elite usage spot. Travis Etienne, $5,600. Chargers bleed chunk runs and give it up on a league high 11% explosive run rate. So he's underpriced and in the perfect script spot if Jacksonville wants to keep Herbert on the sideline. Cody Marks, $5,400. The Texans should be ahead by 2 touchdowns. Marks should walk into 18 touches and all the goal line work. This is the don't get cute chalk running back people play because they're tired of losing. Imani DiMercado, $500 this week. The pure salary saver. He's not sexy, but he's functional. That's all you need at $4,500. Wide receivers, Jackson Smith and Jigba, $9,900. You're either playing JSN or you're watching somebody else with JSN. Seattle, LA should explode. He's the alpha now. I mean, if you want to take a dart, maybe that price tag fools people away. Jamar Chase, 8,500. Flacco plus Chase is a real DFS stack in 2025. What a world we live in. Nakua, AK. Seattle's zone coverage leaks yardage after catches like a broken faucet. So this is a Puka week in my assessment. Devontae Adams, 7,700. This matchup offers one of the best floor ceiling combos on the slate. Seattle won't get pressure consistently. Adams cooks when Stafford has time. Justin Jefferson, $7,500. He will not be this cheap generally. Chicago can't defend elite wide receiver ones as the law of nature dictates. Drake London, 7,400. Carolina's outside cornerbacks are exploitable. If Penix doesn't implode, London has 100-plus yards upside. Nico Collins, $6,700. Tennessee secondary is a digital hologram. Nico is the alpha. Mills will throw. Lad McConkey, $6,500. He's the wide receiver 1 in the pass first game. T. Higgins, $6K. Volume. Flacco loves big bodies. Back to the well. DK Metcalf, $5,900. One of the best price to ceiling plays on the slate. And then Jordan Addison, $5,500. Chicago gets cooked by wide receiver 2s, and Addison is firmly in play. Troy Franklin, $5,400 GPP only, but he has slate-breaking youth explosion potential. Pearsall, $5,200 sneaky good run back in this matchup, the San Fran-Arizona matchup. Shakir, $5K, cheap exposure to the Allen stacks. This is how you get leverage off of Kincaid. Actually, Kincaid's not going to play this week, so it's going to be Dalton Knox, and so I would expect Shakir to be even more in play. Xavier Worthy, $4,900. Vertical spike week if Mahomes goes nuclear. And so with me betting the over, I love him as a tournament play. Tej Johnson, $4,700. Tej Johnson. Let's see who else we got. I don't think I had Reed from Green Bay, but Michael Wilson, $3,800 punt, but live this week, especially with Michael Harrison Jr. not playing. Obviously, McBride's going to get more of the shares, but Wilson's in play too. At tight end, speaking of McBride, $6,300. The tight end one of the slate. San Francisco bleeds to the tight ends who line up in the slot, and McBride is a wideout at tight end pricing. Kyle Pitts, I will not do this. Jawan Johnson, I will not do this. Luke Muckrate, absolute smash tight end salary saver. Giants cannot defend seam routes. Barner, $3,100 from Seattle. Not sexy, not fun, but if he falls into the end zone, he breaks the slate for you. Defense, Texans, $3,700. Obvious play of the week. Mills won't implode, but the Tennessee Titans will. Packers at $3,600. Giants offense is a weekly charitable donation program. We know they have Jameis Winston, and so a little bit of we don't know what we don't know, right? And so there's that aspect which makes it a tournament play. Rams, $2,900. Home defense and a potential shootout. Turnover upside is what I want there. Chargers, $2,800. Trevor Lawrence forced to drop back 40 times. Yes, please. Pounds. And I don't, and for the Chargers defense, really, it's like if they can stop the run, then they can win this game. I don't expect him to have to drop back 40 times. Browns, $2,400. It's gross, but Lamar gives defenses a chance because you can get sacked. So the sack floor is real. But that is the DFS picks that I have for you guys for this week. Hopefully that fills in any gaps that you guys have had. And then good luck to you on Sunday. And at that, let's slide into housekeeping for week 11. We'll talk about a couple of picks that we have and some housekeeping notes here. So let's end with that. In this Commanders at Dolphins game, I want to take Chan for the anytime touchdown. Washington's defense is an unplugged refrigerator, loud, inefficient, and leaking points everywhere. Chan only needs one. He'll get you one. Bengals at Steelers, Joe Flacco higher than one first half. So I need a first half touchdown. First half passing touchdown from Joe Flacco. He's throwing the ball whether Cincinnati likes it or not. Their Bengals defense is bottom tier. So Flacco is that, he's like that old man at the YMCA that still hits every mid-range jumper. Let's load it up. We ride this week. Bears at Vikings. DeAndre Swift higher than 28.5 first half rushing yards. Yeah. Chicago got sliced up on the edges last week, but Swift is built for the edges. This one is a cut and go territory type a bet. Caleb Williams higher than 25.5 rushing yards. Rookie QB, well, not rookie, second year now, but top 5 pressure defense and collapsing pocket. Legs get activated. He'll run. Panthers at Falcons. Rico Dowdle, anytime touchdown. All he needs is one carry inside the 5, y'all, and Carolina's committed to letting him bang around down there. Chiefs at the Broncos. Kareem Hunt, anytime touchdown. He's a goal line vulture. He only shows up for one job, and that job is to steal touchdowns from Pacheco and Mahomes. And Mahomes, I'm taking him higher than 261.5 passing yards. No Patrick Surtain, no excuses. KC, I think, is going to win this game, and if they do, it's through the air or not at all. Game total in this Kansas City game with the Broncos, higher than 44.5. I'll take that. I've been saying it. If KC wins, it's through points. It's through the air, not because they ran the ball 31 times for 89 yards, right? Seahawks at the Rams. I want to take JSN lower than 100 yards this week. This is not a typo. JSN is not going for a C note and change against this secondary. So I think lower it makes sense. Buccaneers at the Bills. Josh Allen, anytime touchdown. Oh, I'm sorry, rushing or receiving touchdown. Inside the 5 is still Josh Allen time. That's the handicap. That's the bet. Like, no need to shy away from that. Other things I got cooking this week. Kate Oden, no touchdown. And I think that makes sense. Lower than 0.5 rushing and receiving touchdowns. He's not scoring. Don't overthink it. Dawson Knox, lower than a touchdown this week. He's not scoring. You're welcome. Baker Mayfield, lower than 32.5 passing attempts. They're not slinging it 35 plus times with this matchup script. This line is begging to be bet under. Lions at the Eagles. Detroit to win, man. This is the single most mispriced team of week 11. Detroit's run game and Philly's inability to threaten through the air equals the Lions take this. Amon-Ra St. Brown going lower than 0.5 touchdowns this week. Lions win on the ground, not through Amon-Ra's touchdowns. David Montgomery higher than 40.5 rushing yards. Jahmyr Gibbs higher than 62.5 rush yards. This is the path to the Lions W. This is the correlated play. This is where the smart money goes this week. Cowboys at Raiders. Las Vegas Raiders to win. Dallas on the road. Geno versus that pass rush. I mean, Raiders have been sneaky good defensively. And Vegas at home in primetime is quietly a thing. Javonte Williams lower than 93.5 rushing and receiving yards. Volume plus a tough front plus split backfield equals lower output to me. I say split because Jaden Blue is no longer hurt. I think he's going to get a couple of reps here and there. That'll eat into that. Brock Bowers higher than 2.5 first half receptions. He's been the first read guy for chunk plays early, so smash that. And then I've got a little parlay cooking on a sleeper. You guys can play these individually if you want to, but Rico Dowdle anytime touchdown. J.J. McCarthy higher than 22.5 rushing. DeAndre Swift anytime touchdown. Caleb Williams higher than 25.5 rushing. Josh Jacobs anytime touchdown. Devon Achane anytime touchdown. It's not a lottery ticket, y'all. It's a thesis. It's a 6-leg XA about matchups and tendencies. Mixed stakes, mixed formats, all built on week 11 script we laid out in the reload and would you rather in DFS. So that's where we're going this week. DFS stacks for this week while we're cleaning the house here real quick. Herbert, McConkey, and Johnson makes sense. It's a passing script, heavy passing script, cross-country trip to go do that. This is the most correlated stack of the entire slate for me. If you want to go off the reservation for something that I'm not playing, Baker Mayfield, Tess Johnson, Trey Palmer, Seems weird, seems gross. It's thin, but it's the exact kind of stack that will break the slate when it hits, right? And so if you want to take, an absurd guess, then you would go that way. But again, the Bills force Baker to throw over 40 plus, then, he's dragging one of those guys with him, even though I don't expect that to happen. Okay. Lamar and Flowers, I think you can do that. Stafford, Puka, Adams, perfect game environment, perfect script. Seattle gives up receiving volume, and Stafford at home in a shootout is a print button. And then Mahomes, Worthy, Rice, no Surtain. Broncos forced them to pass. We stacked the obvious one when the field thinks they're being contrarian. That's our pick for the weeks. Good luck, guys. Hopefully this helps you guys be in a great position for week 11. And you know what we're going to do. We're going to go out there. We're going to stack our W's, and we're going to hold up right back here next week. We're going to talk about what we saw, and we're going to continue to learn, scout, win, and repeat.